Hello, this is Brenda from Babs Fitness, and this week I'm going to discuss some new things that I learned about sugar. You may or may not know this, but I have been taking a sugar break for this whole month. And the reason I did it was because I saw myself falling into the rabbit hole of eating too much sweet stuff. But what I've learned is incredible. I've learned that not only does sugar cause diabetes, um, because when you eat a sweet stuff, anything, whether it's anything, it's sugar or a fruit or some vegetables or any other carb, when it gets digested, the digestion starts in the mouth, and the saliva has this chemical that is sugar, and it takes the sugar and it breaks it down fast. So your body does not know a difference between table sugar, fruit sugar, sugar from a vegetable, or sugar from potato, right? Or pasta or pizza or whatever. Now, what happens is when the body gets flooded with all this sugar, the insulin level, the liver, pancreas, they'll have to do a lot of work to get that sugar into the working muscles. And this is too much sugar too fast. So I tell my clients, if you are going to eat something that's a carbohydrate, please pair it off with a protein. Because protein is going to make sure that it slows the absorption down. And your body will not be flooded with all that sugar. But that being put aside, I started researching as to why is sugar so addictive. And last week I spoke about how sugar affects the brain and the dopamine. And when you eat sugar, it goes up and you get all this happy feeling, and you feel chill, you feel excited or whatever, full of energy, and you crash really quickly. So you have to go and get another hit, as I call it, of sugar or something sweet. And the second time around, you may have to eat more to get the same feeling that you had in the first time. But that is not what I found, because that's normal. Everyone knows that, or everyone should know this about sugar. But what I did find interesting was that there is something being dubbed type 4 diabetes, which is the brain. It just so happens that sugar is so insidious that insulin level has to also go to the brain, right, to give energy to the muscle, to the brain, the muscle, big muscle in the head, and it does the same damage in the brain that it does in the body, the pancreas, the liver, insulin levels, right, diabetes. So when they did autopsies of people who have died from Alzheimer's, no less, they saw a correlation with the brain and with the way the body is when you ingest too much sugar. So now they're thinking that sugar may be a culprit or a factor towards Alzheimer's. Incredible, right? Who knew that that sugar not only took in and ruined other things in your body, made you inflamed, which means you have chronic inflammation because your body is so busy trying to get all that sugar out. Chronic inflammation leads to cancer, as we know, diabetes. Now we know it's dementia, Alzheimer's, all this crazy stuff. So that's one thing I learned, was type 4 diabetes may be caused by sugar. And they call it type diabetes because it's another type of diabetes, they think. It's still in the process of learning, but it's promising that this is probably the case. Second thing I learned, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and there was this neuroscientist, and he was talking about neuroplasticity. And they were discussing how the body communicates with each other. If your thought can actually make something happen in your body. Like you think, oh, I'm beautiful, and all of a sudden you're beautiful, right? Or I'm skinny, and all of a sudden you're skinny. So what he did say was, he doesn't know how that actually works. He does know that sometimes you can change certain things in your brain by having a conversation and some other stuff there. But what he started speaking about, what I found really interesting, was the sugar part. He said there was a study that was done where, and his words were like this, what he actually said, quote unquote, was, and they actually did this. That's how he started off. He said, and they actually did this. So what they actually did was they gave people an injection of sugar. right? To see if you would still crave sugar even if you didn't taste the sugar. Because they're trying to figure out maybe it's the taste buds, right? But no, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you taste the sugar because the gut has a conversation with the brain and tells the brain, I want more sugar. So it didn't matter if you had the cake, if you had the piece of candy or the chocolate or whatever the case, it didn't matter. Because the conversation that happens even without your knowledge. It happens subconsciously. It's a communication between the gut, which is the enteric system, which is another system. As a matter of fact, the gut is even dubbed the little brain. It's like another brain system, they think, or it's being dubbed that way actually. We'll discuss that in another episode. So the gut is having a conversation with the head and says, the brain, and says, I want more sugar, which has you feeling the anxiety for more sugar. Amazing. So you didn't have to taste it or know it's in there, which is how these companies get you, right? They put hidden sugars in a lot of foods, and you don't know. You think you're eating something that has no sugar, and whoa, it has sugar. And then you wonder, why is it that you are feeding for it again? Why do I want more of that product? Because it has sugar that you are not aware of. So you could get Alzheimer's in the head and the brain. You get diabetes in the brain, which is being dubbed type 4 diabetes, right? In the form of Alzheimer's, right? You don't have to taste sugar in order to crave sugar. It could just be hidden in the food. You don't even have to know it's there. So in this case, thought did not direct you to eat more sugar. It just happens because the communication happens between the brain and the head. Amazing. I mean, it's like incredible. And then one other thing I learned was how it takes the liver and it can also ruin the liver. And there's something called a fatty liver, and it's caused by sugar, unfortunately. And there's something called non-alcoholic steroids. I have to look the actual way of saying it, but it's non-alcoholic. I have it here. Let me see if I can pronounce it properly. I should have practiced it beforehand, but I didn't. It's called non-alcoholic steatohepatic liver syndrome. So your liver starts to get inflamed, which causes it to fail. So you have sugar that destroys your liver, your pancreas, and it messes your insulin levels where you become insulin resistant, right? And the brain. Now I know it's the brain as well. And then you get all this chronic inflammation in the body from the body trying to absorb the sugar and trying to get rid of the sugar. And you end up getting all kinds of cancers, all kinds of other diseases. You get the shakes if you don't eat sugar. It's just incredible. My advice is, as a trainer, is try to stick to whole foods. And I know it sounds like something everyone says, but it's true. Okay, you do have sugar in the vegetables because it's a carbohydrate, and your body will treat it as sugar, but it has minerals and it has fiber, so it kind of like takes a lot of junk out and it comes straight out of the intestines. You know, it doesn't even go into the blood system, which is what you want. You don't want all your blood system getting infused with all this sugar and going haywire. So it has fiber, and fiber is one of the most important things, I think, because it kind of like binds it all together and it comes right out. I mean, it's a lovely thing, right? So stick to natural sugars such as sugars in the fruit, sugars in the vegetables, and sugars in the carbohydrates. But again, so you can slow down the absorption of the carbohydrate, pair it off with a fat or a protein, and then that way when you eat it, it won't create that havoc. Your body won't go that crazy. Okay? So that's my advice to you, right? Try to avoid sugar. If you are going to eat anything sweet, go right ahead. But know that you're going to crave it later on, so put in things that you can do. You know, drink water. Have a conversation with yourself. Tell yourself, I'm not going to eat anymore because I know what it does to my body, X, Y, and Z. You know? And it gets easier as time goes on. Anyway, that's it for today. I'm on the sugar kick, or rather there's no sugar kick, and I want to understand what it does to the body. And I want to, share some of my knowledge to you as well. Hopefully, you learned something from this. Of course, you can always comment if you want, and let me know if you understand what I'm talking about, or if I'm talking too quickly, or if you want me to and explain better. But whatever. Take what you can from what I'm telling you. Do the research if you want to. It's there. Anyone can do it. And live a healthier life, a better life, a more energetic life, and a better quality of life. Because you know what? Diabetes sucks. And it's really bad for you. I'm here in New York City, and I've been to Spanish Harlem. And when I was there one day, I saw so many amputees. It's not funny. And I kept on saying to myself, what's going on? Is there a rehab center here? And then I realized, no. In my culture, a lot of people eat a lot of junk food. So we have a lot of diabetes going on there, rampantly so. And that's why I saw a lot of amputation. When I was an EMT, because I was an EMT for a bit, I saw the same thing. Dialysis because of diabetes, amputations. I saw people who were blind. I mean, it's just, if you can avoid this, please do. And if you have genetic predisposition to diabetes, take better, just really be more careful and check yourself. And if you have blood sugar, do what you have to do. But you know that people who are pre-diabetic or who have diabetes are 65% more, have a 65% more chance of getting Alzheimer's. So, but it's not all bad news. I mean, it's bad news, right? But we can do something about it. And it's just little changes, right? And the same thing with the alcohol. I'm going to come back with a list of alcohol drinks that are high in sugar. If I were you, I would stay away from the fruity stuff and from the mixed cocktails and go straight for the hard stuff. Bourbon, scotch, whiskey. A lot of my clients do vodka with water because, there isn't any sugar there involved. So, anyway.